Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined by my co-host, Jacob Boyers. Jake, it's been a long week in the Kentucky Wildcats program. So many things are going on. All the athletics are ramping up. Volleyball team, 9 straight SEC championships, so hats off to them. Craig Skinner's doing a fantastic job down there. The women's team, undefeated so far, handles Purdue, wins by 41 points. Football team, 3 in a row. And we're talking about the men's basketball is what's letting us down. What I thought this was the University of Kentucky, Jacob. What's going on here? We get absolutely throttled in the Garden once again this year. Lose to Michigan State 83-66, and what never really was a game. And outside of that first 10 minutes, just not what I expected at all. Was expecting a big bounce back from this team and got anything but that.
Yeah, if you asked me a month ago how I would feel about this basketball team, it would have been a whole lot different of a vibe. Tuesday night really was. It's one of the more embarrassing performances I feel like I've watched in a long time. I mean, even like Ohio State last year, I don't think I felt this bad because that team had shown some flashes obviously prior to that, and then you get here on Tuesday after you kind of got ran off the floor against your rival 1 week prior. You're expecting a lot of energy and a lot of effort, and I mean, I know we're going to get into all of it, but there's a ton, and it was just super embarrassing, honestly. I mean, the effort was non-existent other than the first 7 minutes, which I don't understand. I don't understand how you can come out and kind of play with your hair on fire, at least on the offensive side, for the first 7 minutes. And then after that, just everything felt like it deflated and you never got back in it.
Yeah, truthfully and transparently, I can't make sense of anything that's going on.
Yeah, I can't either.
With this team right now. I mean, could you have lost this game? Sure. Would I have understood it? Yes. To after the first 10 minutes not have a fighting chance of winning this game, not what was on my bingo card in the slightest. You mentioned like the loss to Louisville. Louisville's a really good team and they have a really good star player, Michael Brown. That I can understand. This Michigan State one is where I really start to raise some of those or sound the alarm bells. And I'm searching for answers right now, and I don't know where they come from. We still have got yet to get any news on Jalen Lowe. Obviously, you still have
Pope said today he's technically day-to-day. So,
that's day-to-day on whether they're making a season-ending surgery or if he's going to try and play through it. But, I mean, still really haven't – I listen to press conference. He still really hasn't given us anything. There's so much going on. Like, if you're on Kentucky basketball Twitter right now, the rumor mill that's swirling is
I don't believe any of them.
so wild. Some of them are pretty funny. I'm going to be honest with you.
They are, but those are just I know a guy that knows a guy, and I heard of this. And
I mean, some of them on there are hilarious. Some of them you actually look at and you can make some connections. I don't believe all of them, but would it be crazy for one of those to be true? No, it wouldn't. The part that I want to raise my hand on and ask you, like, how do we continuously – I feel like this Kentucky team, from 10 minutes in the first half until they go to halftime, since Coach Pope has been here, that has to be their worst 10 minutes of basketball. It seems game in, game out.
Yeah.
Last year, same thing. I wish I could find a way to put those into the stats because it feels like, Stoops in his final 4 minutes of the first half and first 4 minutes of the second half, like that's what Pope's time is. And it feels like if we do win a big game, I mean, we're down by a lot. Duke and Gonzaga last year, it's like, I get we got to collect data points, dude, but can we do some of these data collections before the game starts and before we tip off? Because it seems like, I mean, we were tied, 17-17 in this game, and then you're down 20 going into half. Yeah. Like, where's the disconnect?
Well, you had 17 points with 12 minutes to go in the first half, and you finished at 28, or 29, whatever it was. But I mean, it always feels like it's that first mass substitution, and I understand Pope's an analytic guy, but I can't imagine your analytics tell you that like subbing four of your best players for four of your worst players and going on letting the other team instantly go on a, you know, 12-2 run is good analytics. So I don't understand where it comes from, but to me it just always feels like those mass substitutions. So they're gonna have to, I don't know. I like Pope's just got to get out of that mindset. Especially, I mean, I thought it was pretty bad last year, but especially when you look at this team, I mean, it's clear. Like, I don't know. I don't think you have a superstar on this team, but like when you're getting bad performances from Trent Noah and Cam Williams, and you're making those mass substitutions, and kind of the one guy that stays out there at times is Brandon Garrison. Like, it's just not a recipe for success.
Yeah, and I don't be honest with you. I don't know what the answer is. Like at least like last year when you're talking about making those like full substitutions, we knew there was a definitive drop off. I don't know if I can say that with this team. Like, do I feel much worse going from Mohamed Diabate to Cam Williams? I personally don't. I don't necessarily feel that same way. Definitely don't feel the same way about going from Brandon Garrison to Malachi Moreno. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that trickles almost through the entire lineup. Like I feel better about Yelovich than I do Diabate being out there. I feel better about Cam Williams being out there than I feel Ortega right now. I I don't know. Dude, I just like I sat and watched this game and I even rewatched it because I was at the women's game. First off, Kenny Brooks, I love you.
Killing it.
You're killing it, and I love you. You said they were going to play the whole game there. They maybe showed 2 minutes, maybe, and that was pregame. So I had to have it pulled up on my laptop. Kenny, I am a little frustrated with you because that was. I get you had a big game going on. I understand, but don't tease me with saying we're going to play it. Don't tease me like that. But you kind of mentioned it, man. I mean, 17 points in the first. What was it? 6 minutes?
Yeah, like six. I think it was 12 something on the clock, and they had 17.
Yeah, you finish with 27, and it just like this team is not resilient in the slightest.
No.
The ball starts rolling downhill, and there's going to be no one there to stop it. It seems like there's one guy on this team right now that, pardon my French, gives a shit, and it seems like it's Colin Chandler, and he seems like the only one who's taken a step and looks like he's getting better. Obviously, Malachi looks like he's getting better game in, game out, but I mean, Pope obviously doesn't trust him too much. You still got him. He just praised Brandon Garrison in the
Yeah, I didn't
media
understand that.
media today. Like
I
what
mean,
have you?
he said BG was what, the second most efficient offensive player. I don't know how that comes up with a guy that had 2 points in 20 minutes. So
There's a lot of what.
maybe there's someone that knows the analytics a little better than me and can explain that one to me. But just looking at it on paper, I don't see how a guy that has scored a combined 5 points against Louisville and Michigan State you can say is your second most efficient offensive player.
I mean, just looking at the Michigan State game, they averaged a point per 10 minutes and a rebound every 5 minutes, and that's your starting center. That's a junior coming back. You expected to be maybe not a leader of the team, but a guy to at least fall on when you needed key minutes. There's no reason. There really isn't, unless you're just afraid of losing Brandon Garrison for the season and him like just not checking in and not being a good teammate for the rest of the year. There is no reason for him to be starting over Malachi Moreno right now. So there's genuinely nothing he's providing you that's better than Malachi at this time.
Yeah, I've said it, I feel like, every episode so far, but
Well, we're going to keep saying it, unfortunately.
I know. I love what you're getting from Malachi. I think, you mentioned it's really him and Chandler, I think, that are kind of playing with some heart and, continuing to look better. As far as what's the answer for this team, I don't really know. I mean, I think it's just you got to hope that at some point it clicks for Ortega. The fact that it hasn't through, 5 games, and especially with 2 of them being this big primetime matchup, to not have it in those games, I don't know when it's going to click.
Do his post-game comments bother you as much as they bother me, where he's talking about his own lack of effort and they ask him how he's going to fix it, and he's just like, I gotta find a way to fix it. Is that something that irritates and pisses you off as much as it does me?
Well, it definitely irritates me in the sense of if you can't get your effort up for your biggest rival, a week ago, and then your, a game in the Garden against Michigan State on the biggest stage, I don't know you know, when it, when the effort's going to be there. I mean, I guess I'm glad that he's admitting that he's not playing with the effort that he should, but like at some point, dude, like it's 100% on you. I mean, and these are the biggest games, and these are the games where effort shouldn't be an issue, or at least like the intensity. Like I would have respected it more if he went out there and, just kept driving to the basket and turning the ball over, or like at least like acting like he wanted to be out there. But I mean, I didn't think anybody played well. I thought outside of Chandler, who I think had some really bad fouls away from the basket. Those were his biggest mistakes. And outside of Moreno kind of giving you what you expect out of a true freshman center in that situation, nobody played well, or even okay. I mean, Denzel, we praised after the Louisville game. He was driving me insane in the first half. I mean, there was a stretch where he comes down. Kentucky scores. Michigan State plays with tempo. He doesn't stop the ball. The point guard goes right in and lays the ball in. I think it was Fears. Lays it in, and then they throw it into Aberdeen. He runs it right up the floor and jacks a three with a guy in his face 5 seconds into the shot clock, and he airballs it. And it's like, what do you like? You're a senior. That's not that's not the play. That's not the offense. You didn't stop the ball, and then you come down and do something like that. So there was plenty of frustration to go around on Tuesday night.
You might be putting it mildly. I'm more than frustrated because when you just get like outclassed or you just get outplayed, it's a different feeling for me. It's just like, okay, now granted,
Yeah, they were better.
With a supposed $22 million roster, I don't want to ever go into a game feeling like we got outclassed or outmanned. But it's just like nothing is clicking offensively. It seems like we'll have like a quick spurt early in the game, and then after that, it's just like pulling teeth watching this. Like I'm genuinely to the point where I know Cal just barely beat Winthrop in that offense, but I'd almost rather watch the dribble drive. I'm to that point with how bad this offense has been so far. Like, in majority of our points, like what did we hit? We had 19 points from the free throw line in this one.
Yeah.
And that's with Malachi Moreno, who coming into this game was like a 60% free throw shooter, hitting 7 of 8. And Denzel Aberdeen, who, dude, how you go from just like nothing but net, a 3, and then just like are like 15 area codes away the next shot and don't even like there's probably some poor old lady in the stands that just was like getting her popcorn coming back to her seat and just got hit with a Denzel Aberdeen 3-point. I mean, he was 1 for 8. I like Denzel at the shooting guard. I think he's a terrible, terrible point guard. He's fine if you're running him out there for, 2 minutes at a time to get Jalen a break, and I think that's what he was brought here for. But to just say he's our starting point guard, I get Jasper didn't look good in this game. I know we don't really want to put Colin back in that spot either. I don't think Denzel's the answer. And I definitely don't think Denzel's the answer when you need driving lanes for Ortega, if he's going to be efficient in that at least.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's, the most worrisome about this team is like, you don't really have another answer. I mean, I agree with you. I would love Denzel to play the 2, but, when Lowe's out, I don't know what else you could do at that spot. But it also just feels like there's just stretches where this team just gets insanely selfish and they all take bad shots. I mean, I just mentioned the one from Denzel. You had Ortega taking like turnaround 20-footers that weren't even threes. When Jasper did come in, in the second half, there were points where you were kind of making a run to get back in it, and he takes a heat check. Like, all these guys, I mean, really outside of Colin Chandler. Colin Chandler is the only one that I feel like only shoots within the rhythm of the offense and isn't forcing a bad shot. But every single other person on this team at times is taking a bad shot. And there's I truly don't know what the answer is. I mean, Pope's obviously gets paid to figure this out, and I'm still confident they will to an extent. Like, I don't think this team's going to go win a national championship or probably make, a Final Four. but I do think he will get this team to play more competitively at some point throughout this year. But offensively, like, he's got to get these guys to play within the offense, especially when we don't have the talent to have guys that can just go out there and beat their man one-on-one and get a bucket. You're going to have to find ways to get them baskets, and hopefully at some point, again, just like 25 seconds into the shot clock, there's not one player on this team I need to see pull a three ever. And we did that a lot on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and Goose Gibbons, somebody I like to listen to, especially when it comes to with Tom Leach after these games, because he's at just about every practice, and he's obviously courtside for a lot of these games, calling them.
Yep.
He's talking about just how easy this Kentucky offense is making it for defending teams. Like, imagine you come into the game and you're like, Mohamed Diabate is going to shoot 4 threes in this one. I think Michigan State's pumping their fists. They're like, yeah, that's
I don't
exactly.
know how I don't know how Mo Diabate shot 40-something% at Alabama. Like
Probably
I
because
mean,
they were wide open threes right now.
even then,
the thing is that
I feel like I could leave him in a gym with not a single person in there and hand him 100 balls, and he's not shooting near 40%.
I don't disagree with you.
He
I
might
really
shoot 4%.
But the thing is it's not even the fact that if you told me hey, Mo shoots 4 threes, I'm just gonna assume they're open shots and he's already hit one. He's taking contested threes right now. In what world is he feeling confident enough to shoot contested threes? I get that in this Pope system, the 4 is supposed to be a decent enough shooter. That's not Mohamed Diabate. And I don't, unless you're going to make a big switch and make a bold move and put Cam Williams at that spot or Andrea Jelovich, you're going to have to make some sort of schematic change. You cannot run this traditional Pope offense of shooting 30, 35 threes a game and expect to, because we're not good enough defensively to do that either.
No.
And when you're not making those shots and you're bad in transition defense, everything that Pope wants to do, you cannot do with this team. They're just bad at it. And that leads me to a bigger conversation I wanted to have with you about the roster construction. It's getting more and more clear to me that this was just not a great, you just missed. At no point did you go out and get an elite shooter. Even if you wanted to say that was Cam Williams coming in, you're still talking about a sophomore coming from Tulane. That at the University of Kentucky, that could not be your big addition as a shooter. Denzel was not a crazy shooter at Florida, and you're getting a guy who was the 6th man off the bench. And with not getting Christian Collins before the early signing period, he's going to skip back and nothing is. I don't know what he's doing out on the high school ranks, what he's doing in these transfer portal rooms. But outside of Jaden Quaintance, who already kind of had an allegiance to Kentucky, what are we doing, man? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me that I get big brain theory of why he wanted to try and construct an offense or a team like this. Let me go out and get a bunch of defenders that are going to make it to where I can coach offense. I can figure out how to get them to score. I think he really overestimated his abilities to get a team to score without being able to knock down the 3-point shot, and I think you're seeing that now. I don't think this team is defensively going to be good enough to where I don't think I trust this offense to score over 75 a game in SEC play as of right now. And I definitely don't think the defense is holding them under that.
No, and that's the issue. Okay, if you want to scrap, your identity and say, I got kind of bullied around with not enough athleticism and defense in the SEC last year. Okay, I can coach pretty much anybody and get them to get in the 70s. The identity of this team should be defense. This team should be a hell of a lot better on defense. And you talked about, Jack Gibbons talking about the fact of they're making it super easy for the other team's defense. They're making it super easy for the other team's offense. What was the play in the second half? You're kind of coming back. You cut it to 10. Izzo calls a timeout. And then right after that, you have 2 people run to the same guy. There's zero communication and a power forward sitting under the basket just waiting to catch the ball and dunk it with nobody within 5 feet of him. it's constant. It's not just like technique. It's like the simplest of simple things. They don't talk to each other on the floor. You built this roster essentially to be much better defensively than you were a year ago. And somehow I'm looking around wanting Kobe Brea back out there and Andrew Carr to go out there and defend. Like I would like
They
the fact
at least they had a heart there.
like the fact that you're kind of to that point, like I think last year's team, as bad as they were defensively, played better defense than what we've seen in the two marquee games this year. And like that is absolutely insane. And then you take away all the offensive firepower that you had from a team a year ago. So, I mean, theoretically, like, could this roster be good and like still work with Pope? Yes, but like you would have to win games, I think, a different way. And I think that was his theory coming into this season was, yeah, we might not go win these, beat Florida 99 or whatever, 100 it was to 99, but we're going to slow teams down more. But you're not slowing them down whatsoever.
Yeah,
I mean, Michigan State had, 83, and I feel like if Izzo wanted to push it, they could have gotten to 95 easily.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's just like there's no adjustments being made like at any point either. Like I feel like we made an adjustment against Louisville with like 11 minutes left in the second half where we started rushing those ball screens and forcing Michael Brown off his spot. Outside of that, I have not seen a single defensive adjustment. We did those last year with subpar athletes, all these guys that weren't supposed to play at Kentucky. And you mentioned it. I feel a hell of a lot better about going to get the. I mean, is this crazy to say? I'd rather have Lamont Butler without his ACL right now guarding somebody than Otega Owe. I mean, it might be a genuine like toss up. I think Lamont would still give you a little bit more heart, but it kind of just brings me back to we talked ourselves into this roster. We give ourselves a lot of time over the offseason to be able to talk about how certain guys can fit and best case scenario. But I want to go back to missing on Lamar Wilkerson. Like having him right now. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, Jalen Lowe got hurt. We can't really judge him too much based off what he's done. But even if you got the same Jalen Lowe that was at Pitt last year, what did he shoot? 31% from three? Let's say he takes a big Mark Pope jump with him and he shoots 35%. Lamar Wilkerson's killing it at IU right now. Granted, they haven't played great competition, but the guy's shooting 51% from three. If Jalen isn't a good defender anyways, why was Lamar not made more of a priority? We're talking about how much he's gloating during the offseason, saying, I want to be the most, the highest paid team. This is University of Kentucky. We want to pay the most. We want to get these guys in here. Then you can't whiff on guys like that. Like if that's going to be your style, if that's going to be how you want to do it, then you got to do it to the best of your ability. Recruit to your strengths. Don't recruit to your weaknesses. Right now, it feels like everything he did in the offseason was to help his weaknesses, and right now we have no strength.
Yeah. And I mean, really, all you can hope from that is that he's learned from it, whether like this team turns it around and they're, a competitive top 25 team for the rest of the season or not. Like, you got to learn that that probably wasn't the best choice. And I mean, all we heard last year was a lot of these guys, like Kentucky kind of took themselves out of consideration. Like, even with Wilkerson, they didn't pull out of consideration, but it was clear, he kind of wanted to be the guy. And, it was maybe told to him, like, you're going to be a piece of the puzzle here. And, you saw the kid from Georgia where they kind of pulled themselves out on. There were a handful of other ones. And it's just like, at some point, especially with all the bad body language and potential chemistry issues and whatever else, like, at some point, maybe you need to learn how to coach those guys and get them to buy in and get them here. And he clearly isn't doing that. I mean, it sounds like one meeting in their living room and Pope kind of makes up his mind on, is this a guy that's going to fit with us or not? But I can tell you what's not fitting, and it's this team through 5 games. So I don't know. I don't know what the kind of big picture thing needs to look like. I still want to obviously focus on this team and see what they can do. I mean, I can't get to the point where I'm telling myself like this is going to be how every marquee game is this season. Like, I still have to have some hope that at some point they'll flip a switch and turn it on. But I mean, right now it obviously looks very grim. And even like one thing this football season taught me is as negative as we'll be, It can flip in an instant. So I'm still holding out hope that there will be something, but I definitely I don't see this team going where I thought they would go preseason and then after they beat Purdue, because I was obviously ready for 9, and I don't think that's theoretically on the table.
I, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I can clip myself here in like
Yeah, that would be awesome.
5 months and just be like, look at these two buffoons. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're buffoons regardless. But I'd love to be able to clip us and say something like that later. But I really don't know where the answers are. I don't even know. Like, we scheduled this insanely tough non-conference schedule, and like I'm looking at it, and we have what potential like 6 losses in the non-conference, and that's before you get to conference play. And 28 games against Power Four schools. Pope's 14-14.
Yeah, I
Like that's insane. That's like I get the SEC last year was ridiculously talented and loaded, one of the best conferences you've ever seen. But 14-14, man. I mean, that includes losses to like Clemson, who did end up being a very good team. Ohio State. I don't think this Michigan State team's going to be a good team. I think like Sweet 16 is probably their ceiling, maybe Elite Eight. And you just got ran off the floor by them in a neutral environment in which you probably had more fans there than they did. Kentucky travels well up to New York, and there's always a good contingent of Big Blue Nation up there. I don't know, man. We've been here before. I'm on the ledge of the bridge. You got a rope to tie me back in, but I'm telling you what, man. I'm one hefty, porky bastard. You're gonna have to do some pulling to bring me back in on this team, and I'm getting really nervous because I thought this Michigan State team was going to be one of the easier non-conference ones we had outside of Indiana. And now you're looking at it. Gonzaga looks incredible. North Carolina, Caleb Wilson, who, again, another miss that we had. And, dude, I don't want to go back too much into recruiting from last year, but Caleb Wilson got asked, hey, man, make a starting 5 of freshman players that you'd like to play with. He literally mentioned the Kentucky starting lineup, and then you still couldn't bring that guy in. You couldn't keep a Caden Lewis, which obviously we'd love to have him right now. I'm getting more concerned big picture because I think the writing is on the wall for this team. I think you see it. The team doesn't like each other. They can dismiss all the character concerns, everything like that. Something's not vibing with the team and with the staff. Maybe it's the team doesn't agree with the staff doesn't agree with the team. Whatever it is, something's not clicking, something's not vibing right in the locker room. I think it's written on the wall, man. I'm not saying this isn't going to be a tournament team or anything like that, but when I was talking about, the basement floor being Sweet 16 and, the ceiling being, however far JQ can take you, I'm getting concerned that maybe, and I have no reason for this. It's strictly just shade and sharp PTSD. I'm getting to the point now where, I mean, if this season really starts to take a turn, Jalen shuts it down for the season, and you're JQ, if you probably don't play this year, you're probably going to be a lottery pick regardless. That really starts to put it on the table. I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
And I really
I disagree completely. I don't think there's a world where he doesn't play
I don't think so either.
unless
But
there's something that actually.
it's a tiny voice in the back of my head that's saying, "Hey, listen, this still is a possibility."
Yeah, that's just where Kentucky fans I love us, but we get screwed over one time, and then we think every player's doing it for eternity.
Listen, and again, I didn't say he was doing it. I just want to preface it by saying that somebody tries to clip me and said that I said it.
No, I get it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the funny thing is I do feel like we'll sit here and talk about this, and maybe it's just, again, the way football went, and even at times with basketball last year, we're going to sit here and just talk about how the sky is falling, and then here in 2 weeks, they're going to kick the shit out of North Carolina at home or something crazy, and we're going to be right back in. But, I mean, December 2nd, you play North Carolina. 3 days later, you play Gonzaga. So you got literally 2 weeks. You got to get it figured out, because if this is the effort and the way you decide to roll out there for both of those games, you're going to be talking about 2 more games that you lose by 20 that are never really in. Because those teams are, like you said, they're both a lot better, in my opinion, than Michigan State. I mean, North Carolina is really surprising me. Gonzaga's looking like maybe the best 1 or 2 teams in the country. Yeah. And you got them both back to back now. get North Carolina at home and Gonzaga in Nashville, but still, like, there's not a lot that shows me that a home crowd's going to energize this team better than we've seen so far.
I'm going to tell you one thing. If you have Brandon Garrison starting against St. John's, mark that in for a 50-point loss. Just go ahead and go. I mean, they don't even make enough jumpers or anything to score that much, but however much they can beat us by, they will. Bryce Hopkins and whatever I can't remember. I can never pronounce his name right. Their other big men that they have, they'll eat Brandon Garrison alive. And genuinely, I think they'll probably do the same with Malachi. They're just both bigger and stronger at this point. And then you look at IU and you think, all right, well, that's probably the other easiest one. Who's guarding Lamar Wilkerson? Who do you feel comfortable? I mean, you would want it to be Colin Chandler, but you mentioned how many fouls he picks up. He's probably going to be on the bench for a good amount of that game. I just get nervous. Because I don't know where. Like, I cannot pencil in wins right now outside of the obvious, like Loyola, Maryland, which we play on Friday. Outside of teams like that, I don't know where these obvious wins are coming from. And unlike the football one, at least the staff, like, even if you didn't believe it or anything like that, the staff never, like, came to a press conference and was like, I have no answers. I don't know what we're doing. We're not doing this. And
I don't know. Stoops kind of got to that point.
I don't think so, man. I don't.
We talked about it. I got a clip of us talking about it, and you agreed.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find it, go.
I agree. Like,
I've never seen a head coach of a premier basketball program
in November. You're 5 games in.
Especially when, like, all offseason, you've been talking about how much these guys love each other, how much they're growing together, how good he thinks we can be. He talks about, like, the limits he had on last year's team and how there aren't those limits on this year's team. And for, 4 weeks into the season, you're sitting there and you're like, actually, you know what? Let me walk those comments back. That was my bad.
Yeah. I mean, I do take it. A lot of people have talked about it. I think, Gary Parrish mentioned it, and, a handful of others. It does feel like, and part of it is just Pope wants this to work so bad that, like, now when he's, like, getting in these moments, I think it truly is just deflating him. And he didn't expect, I'm sure he expected there was a world they could lose at Louisville. I don't think he expected that there would be 2 times in that game you were down 18 and 20 points. And then the effort on Tuesday night. I mean, obviously, as the head coach, you want, he's got to answer those questions better and can't come off as just looking like someone just shot his dog and, he's just going through it. He's got to handle it better. But I understand, like, that being the emotion. Again, you have to handle it better. But, like, I just don't think he thought there was a world where this team just would give no effort. And then you would have, all the reports of BG arguing with people on the bench. Like, dude, have that energy and that effort in the game. You sat there and watched a guy grab 2 rebounds at his waist while you just sat there and watched the ball. 3 days earlier on Friday night, you grabbed a rebound on a free throw and then just, like, stood there and threw the ball to the other team after 5 seconds of not doing anything. Like, again, I saw it today. In Michigan State and Louisville, he has combined 5 points, 10 rebounds, and a plus-minus of negative, like, 19. Like, have some of the fire you want to yell at your teammates on the bench with, and go out there and play with it. And I really didn't see a world where this team, like, we'd be talking about their effort and, like, almost talking like they're quitting, and we're 5 games into the year and 2 marquee games in, and we're sitting here just talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to make bold proclamations here, I think BG's already clocked out for this year. I really do. I honestly think he would have entered the transfer portal if he thought he had a better home or a spot where he could make better money. I genuinely think it was one of those things where Kentucky's offer was just too good to refuse. Because I think he saw the writing on the wall, bringing in Malachi, bringing in Yelovich, and then obviously Jaden Quaintance. And then, I mean, I don't know how he gives up this early in the season, but I don't see anything so far this year that's shown me that he hasn't given up. And it's crazy to say because we're 4 games into a season and he's supposed to be your guy. This is a guy, the year 2 Mark Pope jump. I've seen anything but that. I've seen a lot of regression from all of Mark Pope's year 2 guys, except for Colin Chandler. And we can even get into the Trent Noah part of it. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, man, this guy's taking up a roster spot. At some point. Like, I'm fine with a guy like Reese Potter taking a roster spot. He's got length. We can groom him for a couple years. Maybe he becomes a good senior. I'm not trying to throw Trent fully under the bus and back over him. But I could care less how many threes you're making in practice and what you're shooting in practice. It's the same thing we heard with Travis.
Shoot him in a game. I mean, he played 10 minutes without taking a shot. We had this exact same conversation last year with Trent Noah. The exact same one. He was like the first player to clock X amount of minutes and not record a stat. I mean, this one he shot a couple free throws. He shot 1 free throw, so he missed the front end of a 1-on-1. But it's like, at some point, you're out there to shoot the ball. You have to shoot it.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I'm getting to the point now where, like, I'm looking around. We haven't said we're going to redshirt Braden Hawthorne. Everybody talked about how good he looked in the offseason. I get he's not physically ready. But for the love of God, you need somebody who can knock down threes. You need somebody who can shoot. And I kind of just want to spitball here with you, hypothesize, like, if you were Coach Pope and you're just trying to find a lineup that can fit your style of play, because he's already showing that he's not willing to change the style of play. We're still shooting this many threes, and they're just not going in, and we're not getting better defensively. If you were to put together your lineup of, hey, we might not be great defensively, but I know we're going to get up and down the floor, and I know we're going to be able to shoot and hit threes. What is that lineup for you? I think I have mine, but I kind of want to hear yours first.
Yeah, well, one point real quick is, like, we're running the offense to shoot threes, but we're not, besides contested threes. Like, we're not creating open. Like, we still only shot 15 threes in this game. I mean, Pope talked last year.
When you get out rebounded by 14, that doesn't help as well.
Yeah, but, like, he talked last year, and he reemphasized this year, like, he wants his team shooting 30-ish threes, and we're shooting half of that. And then the ones we are taking are less than 10 seconds into the shot clock with a hand in their face on a step back. So, I mean, honestly, it's tough. I mean, I think at least for the time being, you got to keep, obviously, I think you got to keep the 3 guards the same. Now, I think there's going to be lineups that maybe you're better, and as the season goes on, you start to maybe play Ortega a lot less. But obviously, Diabate and Garrison can't play together. I'm fine with Garrison not really playing. I mean, I like Malachi, and then either Yelovich or Cam Williams, whichever one of them wants to start making shots. I would honestly probably lean Yelovich right now because I think he gives you some rebounding, and he's been a lot better defender than I thought. But I don't know. I mean, I could see a world where, like, your best lineup could be Aberdeen, Chandler. I don't want to say Trent Noah, but maybe you play Trent Noah just because he can play this style that Pope likes, and then either Williams or Yelovich and Malachi. I mean, I don't know. But the issue too is, like, I don't think Pope knows he's played like 68 different lineups throughout this year, and we're 5 games into the season.
I mean, I don't want to say I set you up there, but, like, this is a part of my bigger overarching question is just, like, what do you do? Because each way you kind of construct a lineup in which you think, oh, well, this might get us some offense. You also have to think of, oh, well, that leaves our, quote, best player off the floor. Or that leaves, we can't get rebounds. We're not physical. I don't think there's a good option. Like, in my opinion, I really don't know. All I know is Ortega and Mohamed Diabate cannot be on the floor together. They have no cohesion between the two of them. There's no spacing. They both do the same thing, except one of them's probably trying a little harder than the other. The only difference is that one played for us last year and one didn't. Yeah. Now, granted, Ortega can shoot a little better than Mohamed. You want to talk about, I'm trying to buy a house. If I wanted some guys to build me a house, I'd just bring those two out there. We just got brick after brick. I mean, it's insane. And this is coming after a game Otega actually shot 40% from three. But you can't have those two on the floor. And right now, I want to see anyone but Brandon Garrison. Honestly, if you want to take Reese's red shirt and take it off, I mean, you saw his ability to shoot at Miami of Ohio last year. You know he's at least going to give you effort. The Lexington native kid or right around wherever he's from. I know he's from Kentucky. You know at least he's going to strap it up and be ready to go. I can't find a way in which Brandon Garrison has deserved these minutes. And the fact that Coach Pope said that today is one of the most baffling things I think I've heard.
Yeah, I don't get it. I need someone to show me some type of efficiency rating because again, 2 points and then 3 points against Louisville doesn't really scream second most efficient
2
offensive player.
points and 4 rebounds in 20 minutes from your starting center.
And I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this? Honestly, right now with Jalen Lowe not being on the floor, Malachi Moreno might be your best passer. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm no way, shape, or
I
form
don't think it's Colin, but I think it's close.
am I saying that he is Amari Williams, right? But
No.
I think if you ran a lineup and we don't want Chandler, quote unquote, playing the point, I think you could have Chandler be your primary ball handler to bring the ball up the floor and then run a similar. If you had Malachi, Cam Williams, or Yelovich, Otega, Colin Chandler, and Trent Noah, and have Malachi at the top of the key, and then you run all the zoom action that you ran last year, you're going to find ways to get guys open. And I can't believe I'm saying that as technically, quote unquote, running Colin Chandler at the point because we saw how bad he looked. But I think if you just get him up the floor and then give the ball to Malachi at the top of the key, I mean, every time Malachi, I feel like, makes a good pass for the most part, and he's the one guy that finds guys on the cuts outside of what we saw from Jalen Lowe in the Louisville game.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's one of the main reasons I think he should be starting. And I really don't think there's even an argument to be had for it. Kind of want to run this lineup by you and see what you think. It's not going to happen because it involves taking 2 guys that were here last year and not starting them. But what do you think about a lineup in which you run Denzel out there and Colin, and instead of just having Denzel be the one, like you mentioned there, Colin doesn't have to be the primary ball handler out there. You can still let that be Denzel, but allow some of the offense to run through either Malachi, like you mentioned, or Colin, kind of have a point guard by committee situation there. Having Muhammad at the 3 or Cam Williams, have those be the 3 and 4, and then having Malachi at the 5. Because I think that lineup gives you your best chance at having a shooting lineup while also having passers on the floor that can find guys from those backdoor cuts and from that zoom action. And I mean, that's right now, think about the amount of backdoor cuts that we had last year. And a lot of those were because we had the threat of the 3. Right now, you don't have the threat of the 3. So those backdoor cuts are not there. Nobody's going for them. I think that's what gets your best lineup on the floor. And then I also like it for Otega. I think that actually you get Otega out there when he's out there with Yelovich, so he has a big that can move out and he has clear driving lanes. I feel like it opens it up more for him. He gets Trent Noah out there with him as well, a guy who can shoot threes, again, clear the lane for him. I honestly think it's a win-win for everybody. I don't think Pope's going to do it out of the goodness of his heart because I think he has too much love for Otega. And I kind of mentioned it after the Louisville game. I think that's something that's probably going to hamper this team.
Yeah. No, I do like that lineup. And, I kept saying Yelovich or Cam Williams. I think there's obviously a world you can play Cam at the 3, and I would like to see Cam and Yelovich on the court together with Malachi. And then really, honestly, 2 of those combinations at guard, because I do think you're fine playing Otega at that point, with 3 shooters and then a good passer in Malachi. And I think, obviously, it opens everything up. And to your point, if we're getting Malachi the ball at the top of the key and then running all that zoom action and letting him be your best passer, I mean, I personally think that's going to be the best thing you can do in this current situation.
Yeah, but I also think I don't think you play Otega with Malachi either. Malachi, he does have the ability to knock down shots, but he's also in that same Brandon Garrison mold as to you don't necessarily
saw him do it with Amari, and Amari was obviously a
Yeah,
probably
but
worse shooter than anybody on this
you
team.
also had Kobe Brea flying off of screens and Ansley sitting in a corner that you had to respect, and you couldn't leave those guys. You had to stay on them.
Well, if you
Right
have
now,
Yelovich and Cam Williams and Colin Chandler, I mean, maybe you don't have a Kobe Brea, but right now Colin Chandler's shooting as well of a percentage as Kobe Brea. So,
yeah,
I mean, that would be the only.
I'm just saying I don't like the Otega with Malachi. What I'm saying is I want Otega out there with a Yelovich, with the more proven big that can shoot of the three of them. That's who I want him out there with. Because I think you're seeing that it obviously doesn't work with him and Brandon Garrison out there.
No.
Right? It really hasn't worked with Malachi yet either. The only ones that you haven't really seen them play together that much is Otega and Yelovich. I'd like to see those two a little bit together to see if that spacing does help Otega or if we're just lost with Otega right now. Because I can't tell. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say the lanes are clogged and that's why and we're not get out in transition as much. That's why he's not as effective. But he's got to take a lot of the blame too. The
Absolutely.
system isn't working for him, but he's also not working to help the system. And these are the reasons that I'm so pessimistic right now because I don't know what the answer is and the things that I think could be potential solutions. I don't want to say I don't think Mark has the stones to do it, but I mean, I don't see him. You mentioned there's nothing you've seen on the stat sheet, even just watching the game, that Brandon Garrison should be starting playing this many minutes. And yet he's continuously running him out there. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Otega. I think the only thing that's going to help us with the Brandon Garrison one is the fact that Jaden Quaintance is coming back and you can't keep him on the bench. I think it's the only thing helping us there. Right now, we're living and dying with Otega, and it's unfortunate, but I kind of think that's where we're at.
Yeah, and for me, again, it's just Otega's effort, and again, I said it to start the pod. I would have respected it a lot more if he went out there and just constantly drove to the basket, and even got blocked, or was looking for fouls and didn't get the calls and turned the ball over. Like I, I would have respected that a lot more than what we saw on Tuesday. Like, give me something to show that you're at least giving it some effort. And he flat out admitted he wasn't, and it's obviously super concerning. But you kind of hope that that's something that at least is fixable. So we keep saying it, but I don't know what the answer is. I don't get paid millions to figure out the answer. So I mean, this is part of being the Kentucky head coach. I mean, Pope got obviously the awesome part of it a year ago, and now he's getting the not so awesome part. So he's going to have to really figure it out. And you got to make this team competitive somehow. Again, I don't think if he comes out and this team goes to a Sweet 16 and is just like a bottom top 25 team all year, and then he comes out in the off season and says like, hey, I didn't construct the team as well as I could have, and I had this idea and it clearly just didn't work, and I've learned from it, then we'll move on. And I don't think anybody would be saying like you got to get rid of him or anything crazy like that outside of a few crazy accounts on Twitter. But like, he needs to get this team at least competitive and at least be like, again, a bottom top 25 team in the nation.
Yeah, and Jake, I kind of just want to go through a stretch right before we go into conference play. 4 of our last 5 games before we hit conference play: North Carolina, Gonzaga, Indiana, and St. John's.
Yep.
What do you need to see from this team outside of just cohesion and like the offense looking better? What do you need to see that makes you feel like they're turning, at least getting into more of what Pope wants to do? Is it just splitting 500, 2-2, winning the home games, or do you need to see them beat Gonzaga? Do you need to see them beat St. John's? Because you're also getting to the point now where we're not great in these road environments or neutral site games. That's also starting to become a little bit of a worry of mine. It's not a huge worry, but it is something to take note of, I think, when we do go play in these big environments. It doesn't seem like we're doing all that great. I know we did beat Duke on a neutral floor last year and Gonzaga as well.
You won at Tennessee. So, I mean, I agree with your overall premise. But, I mean, there's a handful of outliers there that I think you can make an argument to kind of go against it. I mean, if they split 2-2, I'm honestly not going to complain too much. I'll obviously still be extremely disappointed with this Michigan State game, and it's going to be a game I think all year we're going to look back and, no matter how you finish, you're going to say, how was your effort not better in that game? But yeah, to your point, if you go 2-2 and there's some more, cohesiveness and just flat out better effort, I can't sit here and watch this team just not try from
That was brutal, man.
from the top down of Votega, and then I can't watch BG sit there and watch a guy grab 2 rebounds practically off the floor because he decided not to even go for the basketball. So I mean, you got to see something a lot different than what you've seen, and even then, going 2-2, I can't watch you go out and get absolutely ran by Gonzaga purely based off of effort.
Yeah, I generally don't know if 2-2 would make me feel better. I feel like 2-2 is kind of, for me, I want to say is like the bare minimum, because then you still go 2-4 in your biggest non-conference games. Like I would at least want to see the team finish 500 against. And
I kind of think that ship sailed. You're telling me we got to go.
Too,
we got to win 3 of those 4.
Myself feeling good about this team, like heading into conference plays. Your first game against conference play is going to be against Alabama. So I mean, you're generally talking about this team floating right around 500 going into the first week of conference play. And
well, what if it like? What if you go?
It really is.
What if you go 2-2, but let's say you kind of beat Indiana pretty handily. You beat either Gonzaga or North Carolina, and then the other 2 you lose are, good games that you kind of battled. Because, again, like, if you lose a close one to Gonzaga or St. John's, I wouldn't feel super bad, especially I know I picked us to obviously beat Gonzaga before the season, but I mean they're a lot better than I thought. And
all of these teams look better.
The big man, Aika, whatever his name is, I always can never say it right. He's killed us 2 years in a row, and I'm fully expecting a third year of him absolutely dominating.
The only person who somewhat slowed him down last year was Amari. When he was against Brandon Garrison, he just went nuclear.
And let's talk about like the Gonzaga game like a year ago. That was a huge comeback win, and obviously we all felt great. Mark Few practically, excuse my language, pissed that game down his leg by stopping running the pick and roll and taking the ball out of his point guard's hand down the stretch. So, there is
I think that's what I was going to say is, like, if you do go 2-2 in these games, I cannot see these games where you're trailing 18 points. I can't see – and even if it's like let's say Indiana, for whatever reason, comes out and Lamar starts off hot, I can't find a way where you're down 18, even if you come back to win. Like, that's still going to be a net negative mind. Like, we have to stop these trailing, coming from behind, pull it out of our ass wins. Like, it just can't keep happening. It's not a recipe for success. I think we all know this. At no point, I don't think there's any data team or any analytics team out there that says, actually, this team is best when they're down 13 with 14 minutes to go in the first half. I don't think anyone's saying that, but I don't know, man. 2-2, I guess, like, if you offered it to me right now, I'd take it just because of how bad I feel about this team. But, man, I would look, because I'm telling you right now, I'm writing it in pen. I don't know what the spread's going to be. They will lose to St. John's. St. John's can't shoot. It doesn't matter. We
didn't think Michigan State could shoot, and then you let them shoot open shot after open shot.
I mean, Jake, if we're being honest, I think you were going to shoot 44% from 3 in that game in the Garden. Like, they'd have been calling you Jack Golke. You kind of got that haircut a little bit. They'd have been calling you Jack Golke that night.
Hang on, can I give one non-basketball related positive that I just saw pop up on ESPN?
Let's see it.
All right. 97-yard house call. Ray Davis bounces off a player, spins, and pretty much, I guess, Ray Davis had a crazy touchdown kick return. So
the vibes around Kentucky football are high, man. The vibes are high. 3 in a row.
I didn't mean to interrupt our basketball podcast, but when I see that pop up, now when we hop off here, I want to go watch it. But hey.
I needed some positivity, so I mean that helps out a little bit. Jake, we obviously do have this game tomorrow night against Loyola Maryland. When I was doing the preseason predictions with Tyler, I didn't even realize this was the Maryland team. I thought it was Loyola Chicago. Like I was blaming
I know it wasn't that.
16 and she had just passed. Now I feel bad. Loyola Maryland.
Can we talk about Tyler's preseason predictions though?
Yeah, the undefeated.
Theoretically, there's a world where our records still hit. Like, I mean, I think we both had whatever 14-2, but
the kid makes some bad predictions. I will grant you that, but Loyola Maryland, nothing good comes out of the state of Maryland. Speaking as a guy who knows some people from Maryland, never turns out well. Jake, what do you got? What do you want to see from this team? Because really, I think we're past the point of seeing stuff in games like this.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion.
I don't really care. I expect this to be how the other three kind of stinky games have gone, maybe outside of Nichols for that first half. I mean, I think Kentucky wins. I think they win big, but to your point, it doesn't really show me anything one way or another. I mean, if I'm going to give a score, I'll say 94-60.
Yeah, and if I'm the only thing that I'm looking for that I can even like come out of this with a somewhat net positive, stop turning the ball over so much, dude. Like even the last game we had before Michigan State, we had 14 turnovers.
They have a good assist to turnover ratio.
Can we keep it like under 7? Under 7 turnovers against a team like this, I don't think it should be a problem. That's all I'm asking for. Like I don't care if you come out and you can't shoot the ball well. The reason you schedule these games is to get the cohesion that you want. And the fact that we have more cohesion with a Kentucky football offense and a Kentucky basketball offense is criminal. But, I mean, I have the Cats winning by a lot in this game. I actually don't think they get to the 90s. I think they're still going to be looking for their offensive woes. I'm going to go 87-58.
I want to see just more assists, too. Like 13 assists Tuesday night is unacceptable.
This team just doesn't play for each other, man. And that's kind of like this. A lot of the scariest part. Pope tried to twist words and say, like, actually, a lot of times when you think they're doing something selfish, they're actually doing something so unselfish that it is selfish. And you're like, all right, dude, like I see what you're trying to do. I'm not buying it. You can go sell great land down in the swamp of Florida. I'm not buying. Like this, I've hated how he's handled media the past week and a half. It's really, really frustrated me. And as someone who is as big of a Mark Pope fan as I am, I think he's a great person. I think he's actually a good leader, even though he can't really handle himself in losses as of right now. So he's got to figure something out because this past week and a half, 2 weeks has been
bad.
I mean, it's been a Brandon Garrison level performance, if I'm being honest. And him and BG are fighting for a spot right now.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch it one more time because I obviously wasn't on your guys' on the football pod last night. What were your and Tyler's real quick predictions for Saturday?
Tyler was the negative one of the group, as always. The guy sucks.
Yeah,
he had him losing. I want to say
positivity.
I want to say he had him losing 34-27, something of that nature. I had the Cats squeaking it out because of a Diego Pavia late turnover. He tried to give the game away against Auburn, tripped and fell on a 4th and 1. Auburn just didn't do anything with it. I got the Cats winning 31-28. It's going to be a Jacob Coway to win it, and we have a hell of a night.
Now, I will say one thing about the Vandy team, and I'm sure you guys kind of mentioned this. They played 4 or 5 really tough games back to back right before they played Auburn. So I think the vibes or the bye is going to help them. But I'm kind of with you, Cam. I'm leaning towards that.
It's a trap game, man. This spread is 9.5. They play Tennessee next week. Diego Pavia thinks he's going to win the Heisman. They think they ease by in this game. Then they think it's Tennessee to go to the playoffs. And guess what? Not so fast, because guess what? We're letting Bush cook.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. So I'll give my official prediction here real quick for that one. I'm gonna go Cats. I'm gonna give one of those weird scores I like to give. I'm gonna go Cats 26-21.
26, man. The way you find these scores, I don't know how, but
26-24.
somehow they usually come true. I don't like usually the more obscure of pick you have, like you could pick like 51 and somehow that'd be the one that would pan off. I don't even know where it would come from, but you find a way to make it happen. So I hope you're right. Usually if you and I guess something and Tyler
I
guesses
know.
the opposite, it usually goes well with us. And I'm all here for it. Let's go bowling.
Let's go. Let's lock it in.
Lock it in.
7
Diego
and 5.
Pavia, certified bum after this week. But I will say, Jake, you do have us holding them to a few amount of points there.
Hey, our
They've
defense is playing well, man.
They have been, and I hope that the injury report comes back and we got a lot of guys playing. The injury bug's hitting us a little bit, but we ended on some positivity. Let's hope the Cats have a hell of a weekend. You got the women's team playing on Saturday against Louisville. Of course, you need to even that out.
Let's just go for a little sweep this weekend.
It's no better time to do it than when you're facing two of your rivals, Vandy and Louisville. Let's get it done. And you know who's going to have you covered for all that, Jacob?
You, Mr. Cameron Johnson.
The fellas of the Cats Talk podcast, Cameron, Jacob, and Tyler. We'll all have you covered here. Win, lose, or draw. Let's hope it's 3 wins coming back. And when we talk on Monday, we feel a lot better about all of these teams. That's all for the Cats Talk podcast. Follow us on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, and we're wherever you get your Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. We're anywhere and everywhere. Jake, L's down. Go Big Blue. Let's have a great weekend.
Let's go.